Hello Fleet Ready fam, welcome to Fleet Ready Gaming. My name is Savad and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be going over the Tumbril Storm Q&A that came out this week, checking out all of the questions that were posited by the devs and answered by the vehicle creation teams. This one's going to be interesting, so let's go ahead and check it out. Alright. So, Tumbril Storm Q&A. Following the concept release of the Tumbril Storm, we took your community-voted questions to our designers to provide you with more information on the recently unveiled solo tank designed to blitz overcrowded battlefields. Okay, so I didn't know these questions were actually submitted by the community. I assumed it was like most other recent Q&As and they were dev submitted, but that's cool. What vehicles will the Storm fit in? The Storm officially shares the same garage size as the Tumbril Nova and the Anvil Atlas platform vehicles, so anything that supports them. However, its reduced height and length allows it to fit into some ships that cannot fit the above, such as the Anvil Carrack and Drake Corsair. That's awesome to hear. As having a Corsair myself, it's cool to hear that the Storm will fit in it. It definitely makes me consider picking one up a bit more. As Storm is intended to be a smaller fast assault vehicle, but is so large that it currently only fits in vehicles that can transport the Nova Tank Atlas platform vehicles, where does it fit in the grand scheme of things? For example, in which scenario would one be favored over the other? As mentioned above, while it has the same garage size, the Storm's dimensions allow it to be carried by many other ships, allowing for greater flexibility in terms of transport and deployment. The two tanks operate vastly different roles. The Storm is fast and lightly armored, while the Nova is much larger and slower, but packs more of a punch. How fast is the Storm intended to be compared to other ground combat vehicles? All stats are subject to change, so we won't list specifics right now, but expect the Storm to be faster than the Nova and Atlas series and closer to the Ursa in speed. What are the vertical plates supported by the struts? Decoration? Roll of cool decorative pieces, though they are inspired by some modern world standoff armor panels that deflect incoming rounds away from sensitive areas. I hope in the future, when physicalized damage is introduced, that, these will kind of change from rule of cool and actually do those type of intended features. The Storm has clearly visible smoke chaff launchers like those found on modern tanks, while this vehicle have countermeasures like noise and flares. Yes, it has the full suite of countermeasures as found on other vehicles. Awesome to hear. What is the tactical spec armor and how does it differ from the mil-spec components that have been offered in the past? This is just a marketing phrase and has no special behavior in-game. The Storm is as normally armored as you expect a tank of this role type to be. How well defended is this tank compared to, say, the Nova, Ursa, or Centurion, and how does its armor fare in comparison? In terms of durability, it sits between the Nova and Centurion and has significantly more than the Ursa. As tanks are intended to be off-the-road vehicles, will the low ground clearance of this model limit traversal? Does the tread configuration of the Storm give it any sort of advantage when hitting obstacles on rough terrain? The Storm has a relatively good clearance, especially compared to the Nova, and its design allows for much greater arrival-departure angles without hitting the hull. Awesome to hear. Will the bespoke size 3 weapon have the same upscale damage for its size, similar to other vehicles with unique weapons? For example, the size 5 Slayer cannon for the Nova has, in its current state of the game, 18,500 alpha damage, while other size 5 ballistic cannons only deal 1,500. Yes, like the Nova, the size of the weapon doesn't truly follow the other systems given its bespoke nature, allowing for independent tuning, which puts it at a much higher alpha DPS than the number would normally be. What about barrel elevation and depression? Considering the Nova barrel can't depress far enough to aim a little downward, how does the Storm fare? Again, all stats are subject to change, so we don't want to give exact numbers at this point. However, it is safe to say the Storm's depression and elevation ranges are significantly better than the Nova's, allowing you to hit things on the ground almost directly in front and to the side of the vehicle. To achieve this, the turret extends up a little when the vehicle powers on. Why just one size 3 weapon? This was an intentional design choice as the bespoke nature of the gun allows it to perform very strongly for its size. We didn't want the Storm to be excessively overgunned or to be too much for a sole driver to manage and fight with compared to other vehicles. Does it have any additional ways to fight off small targets like infantry since it doesn't have a size 1 anti-personnel repeater? No, ideally, like modern life, you do not want infantry getting close to your armored vehicle. But if you find yourself in this scenario, we'd recommend using the speed of the vehicle to get distance between you and the infantry and use the turret weapon. Okay. Or just run them over if you can. Is the driver's control of the turret restricted to the area in front of the vehicle, or does it have proper 360-degree rotation? It has full 360-degree rotation, allowing for views around the full vehicle. Awesome to hear. That was a question I had when I first saw it. I was curious if it was, just through the pilot's view. The spec states that the Storm has a remote-operated turret. Can the Storm fire while in motion, or does it have to stop for the driver to enter the remote turret interface in order to fire? What is the arc of fire, both while driving and presumably while using the remote turret? Yes, the driver can control the turret while on the move or stationary. Whilst moving, the view limits are constrained to the front arc of the vehicle. When in a remote view, you will have a full 360-degree range. The brochure indicates that there's personal weapon storage, but the picture suggests there might also be personal inventory space in the rear track. Is this the case? There's personal weapon storage in one of the front track housings and personal inventory space near the driver's entrance. The rear of the main body contains critical components, including the power plant, cooler, and shield generator, while the other track houses less critical components like radar, computer, and battery. And finally, a single size 0 power plant seems very underpowered when compared to other vehicles. Will this be sufficient to power not only the vehicle itself, but also its shields and bespoke energy autocannon? How do you intend to support this? How do you intend to support this should a single power plant prove to be insufficient in the future? This is something we'll expand upon in the future, but the upcoming resource network changes have given us the opportunity to reevaluate sizes and quantities of items aboard all vehicles. So newer vehicles can seem under-spec'd relative to existing vehicles, but in reality, they will operate efficiently as designed. Some vehicles will also have items reduced to be more in line with the upcoming changes. So that's a pretty big statement right there, which honestly kind of makes sense when you think about how a lot of the older ship designs have doors that are too small or corridors that are too small for the components that are in them. Kind of like the Talon. I recently saw, I believe it was Ollie43 who did a video where he was showcasing the Talon, and was it the Talon? It was one of the alien ships, and the components inside of it are massive, way too big to even be able to get in, and the amount of rework that it would take to get that to work, obviously would take so much time that I can see why this is the more ideal situation to addressing that problem. So awesome to hear. I look forward to seeing those changes. Well, with that being said, we're going to wrap up the video here. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, please consider giving the video a thumbs up. It helps us out a lot. And if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. We're looking to grow the channel to 250 subscribers. Currently sitting at 145. When we hit 150, we will be doing our next giveaway contest. So, hit that subscribe button if you want to make that happen faster, be part of the community, and to be able to enter it. But I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.